do not know what this interview is going to do, okay? I was a little nervous about taking it because, you know, this is an interview that could cause things to go either way. And so I'm honored to have you here, Mr. Brian Cole Sr. You are accompanied by your attorney, Mr. Mario Williams.
Appreciate it.
This is the first time I know Mr. Williams. You've been on several platforms discussing, you know, your client on behalf of his family. I know that you have been contacted by any and everybody to tell your story and to talk and to speak on behalf of your son, Brian Cole Jr., who has been charged in related to the January 6th insurrection with planting pipe bombs.
You're watching previously unreleased video of the mysterious person who planted pipe bombs outside the offices of the Democratic and Republican National Committees in Washington, D.C. a day before the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. The FBI is releasing the footage and more information in hopes of generating new tips for the pipe bomb investigation. Authorities previously offered a reward of up to $500,000 for information leading to the suspect's arrest and conviction. Investigators estimate the unidentified suspect to be about 5 feet 7 inches tall. The most distinctive part of the suspect's outfit are a pair of black and gray Nike Air Max Speed Turf shoes with a yellow logo. The FBI says fewer than 25,000 pairs of the same shoe were sold between August 2018 and January 2021. The pipe bombs were discovered about 17 hours after they were planted. Fortunately, nobody was hurt before the bombs were rendered safe, but the FBI says both devices could have been lethal.
Every single person that has been charged and even found guilty and has received significant sentences has been pardoned per Trump.
That's right.
He said they all go home regardless if officers got killed, what had happened. He's a new president now. They were out there for him, protesting on behalf of him, and he let them go. But your 30-year-old son, Brian Cole Jr., is the only one still sitting in prison without bond, without bail, without house arrest, is being labeled a danger to society. He's been accused of planting 2 pipe bombs. But yet, based off of, you know, what Trump has, you know, signed an order on, an executive order on, he hasn't received a pardon. He's still sitting in jail. And so you're here for the first time speaking. And of course, we're going to let your lawyer handle all the legal stuff.
Oh, no problem.
But I wanted to speak to you, you know, and I'm sure all the parents that are watching this right now want to hear from you. And thank you for, you know, choosing our platform. But
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, how's your son doing?
He's fine. I speak to him every day. He calls each one of his family members, from his mom, me, everybody. He calls us at least twice a day. First thing in the morning and at night before he goes into his cell. Every day.
You guys look just alike.
That's what they say.
I think the only thing is just like you got hair, he doesn't.
Right.
In the photos they released, I don't know if he's grown hair since he's been incarcerated, but it's like a splitting image.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So many misconceptions surrounding what happened, but I just want to talk to you as a father. Like, what was Brian like growing up? Because, you know, there's speculation around him being autistic and whether or not he was mentally able to commit such a crime, but...
Growing up, Brian, he was, to us, he was very normal. He never caused us any trouble. Never. He... you know, was always very respectful. You know, he was very detail oriented. You know, whatever we needed him to do or we wanted him to do, he would do it. No pushback. I mean, just great kid, great guy growing up. Even to this day, he's a great guy.
Where are you guys from?
From Washington, D.C.
Okay, I was going to say, y'all got that D.C. swag. That's why I thought your lawyer was from D.C. Cause I love D.C. I just love everything about D.C. So normal kid growing up.
Very normal kid. You know, you played with other kids, you know, go in the house, he plays video games. I mean, he was a good kid. We didn't have any issues out of him.
No school issues.
No school issues or anything. You know, he perfect kid.
Good grades.
Good grades, yeah. He graduated. He graduated from high school and everything.
Two-parent house?
Two-parent household. Me and his mom was together the whole time, you know, up until he was about 23, 24 years old.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he was raised really good. He was a good kid.
Okay. So I guess that's what's so shocking about the situation, right? Because, I mean, you hear of, you know, two parents that raise their child to do everything right, and then now, you know, you're faced with something that could potentially send him to prison for life.
Yes, ma'am.
So from your, I guess, perception and things that you've gathered, what happened?
When you asking me what happened, give me an idea what you're talking about. I don't.
How does a son that grows up in such a perfect household winds up January 6th, allegedly, January 6th,
That's right.
Involved in some sort of insurrection? Like,
well, it's alleged.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't answer that question because, you know, one, we don't believe he did anything wrong. We don't believe he did it. We don't believe he was involved. So I can't answer that question. You know, how can you answer a question when you don't believe your child did anything like that?
Let's talk about that because, you know, I had a chance to review everything, and, you know, they've been trying to find this DC pipe bomber for like 5 years, since 2021.
That's right.
Right? And they could, first it was like a woman, then it was a man. It was, you know, I saw videos. You couldn't really figure out who it was.
In the investigation, nearly 5 years after a suspect placed 2 pipe bombs outside both the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. Despite a $500,000 reward, hundreds of hours of video interviews with 900 and some people, still no charges have been filed and no one has been arrested. There are unverified reports about a former Capitol police officer who now works with the CIA as perhaps someone who could be connected. And joining us this morning to break it all down is retired veteran FBI special agent in charge and former head of the Chicago PD, Jody Weiss. Good morning to you, Jody. Nearly 5 years have passed since this incident. Investigators had no problem, as we know, hunting down every single person in the Capitol on January 6th. Why have we not heard more about this report, though, from the FBI, from the DOJ, from U.S. Capitol Police? What is going on here?
Yeah, good to see you, Jen, and happy Veterans Day to all my fellow veterans out there.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, this is really interesting to me. This was an explosive report, if true. And in keeping with the FBI's tradition, they will not normally confirm or deny any case going on. But keep in mind, this claim was based on gait analysis. That is not standalone evidence like fingerprints or DNA. So there's going to have to be a lot more work on this before the government comes forward and actually says something about this. But they have to, because this is such an explosive report. At some point, I've got to believe the Department of Justice is going to have to address this.
I kind of read through some of the, you know, the indictment. They're saying that I guess his car was in the area or something like that. I don't know. They found alleged, I don't know, bomb making material or something that he had bought. It wasn't much. It wasn't, and I don't know if they're just not revealing anything or whatnot, but it didn't seem like much. It just seems like they just, first of all, why did it take them 5 years? Because normally most cases go dead after a year or two.
And that is a question that I have, you know, because he never went anywhere. He was always home. He got up every morning, 6 a.m., go up to the 7-Eleven, get his pizza, get his drink, come home, take his shower. Then he goes into the office. He sits in the office all day. He leaves the office, go home, walk his dog. It was his routine for the whole entire time.
What kind of work did he do?
He worked in the family business. You know,
okay.
we own a pretty strong company, but he worked in our business.
Okay.
You know, he did a lot of data entry.
Okay. So he worked with computers.
Yes, he worked on his computer. Yeah.
Okay. And so when you think bomb making, did he have a thing for, you know, science experiments coming up?
I've never seen anything like that.
You know how most kids, like my son right now, I just talked to him today. He was like, Mommy, he was like, will you bring me back cars, a Lamborghini, and a city? That's in a city. Yeah, he likes models of cities. Like, you know how they pre-build and show you something, like how it's going to look like a development? My son likes stuff like that. I'm like, baby, I don't know if I can bring you back a city, but I bring you back some cars. Like, so he never asked you, Dad, hey, give me 2 battery wires, a negative and a positive. Let me see what I can.
No, ma'am. Nothing like that, no.
And you're touching on one of the big issues in the case, really, because and people who are watching this have to understand allegations are just that, allegations.
True.
You can put allegations on anybody, right? Mm-hmm. So the allegation is that set down a device that could explode. Well, we know for a fact, based on their own records and FBI forensic analysis, this device that's at issue could never have exploded. Then the whole issue turns to, okay, well, there's the pardon, and we can get into that later, but one of the issues.
Let me cut you off for a second.
Yeah.
Why couldn't the device have what was wrong with it?
Technically, materials, everything, it just wasn't there.
So you could argue that it wasn't even a bomb.
Yeah, see, I don't call it a bomb.
Okay.
I say it's a device because the way it's laid out, it's a device that they claim was set down to explode. So it's an explosive
this is what the government
device.
Is saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I don't even go there because I've seen all the information and it just couldn't go off.
Yeah, any bomb is going to have 3 components. There's going to be an explosive filler, there's going to be a container, and there's going to be some type of fusing device. In these devices, the explosive was actually homemade black powder using potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal. The container was galvanized pipe, 8 inches long with threaded end caps. Now, the fusing system is where it gets a little convoluted. The bomber used a kitchen timer tied to a power source with some igniters involved in it. Now, the question comes up, why didn't these devices go off? Were they supposed to be a hoax device? The FBI and the ATF has said these devices should have functions. All the necessary components were there. The thought process is the timer's jammed, or that the batteries ran out of juice and did not ignite the actual igniters, thereby not causing the explosive mixture to burn.
So if, let's just say, they were part of a hoax, was it a diversion? If this was part of a training mission, would this have already been relayed to everybody?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can't believe on an event like January 6th, so we knew a lot of people were going to be on the Capitol, that this was a training mission. So I would rule that one out.
Okay.
Bombs are typically used for diversionary devices. Oftentimes, law enforcement will use like a flashbang as a diversionary device. So then the question comes up, why?
So that's problem number one. Problem number two is, just like you mentioned, just in passing, you had other people suspected of this. You had a law enforcement officer who failed a polygraph that simply said, did you lay this device on the ground on this day at this time? She failed it. Somehow that just disappeared. That just got swept under the rug. That's not even, they're trying to make that not even an issue in the situation. So then you have a video. Unlike, and see, what people have to understand, when certain people got pardoned in this case, they are on video assaulting officers.
We saw.
Yeah, so you have to understand there's 2 types of pardons. That you can commute somebody and you say, hey, look, we convicted you 22 years, you can get out of prison. Mm-hmm. You're not going to do it, but you don't get your rights restored. We're talking about individuals who actually got convicted and got a full pardon to get all their constitutional rights restored, including firearms. And these people are on TV, on recorded video, assaulting law enforcement officers. Now, let's take that back to these allegations against Junior. They don't have any video of Junior, his face, anything. They got all kind of problems with that. So when people say, well, hey, Mario, do you think he's innocent? I know he is. Legally, there's a moral side of this too, and an ethical side, and you mentioned it. Going down, the government trying to put somebody and make him go down for life, and you got to understand how that happened. He wasn't originally convicted or indicted, I should say, of charges that carried a life sentence. He wasn't. I file a pardon with our team, because there's a legal team here. I file a pardon memo saying, hey, let's set aside anything. You made these allegations. You called him the J6 bomber. You alleged that he put this down. So is his conduct as you allege it to be, not as it is, you haven't proven it, but you allege that his conduct is related to the events that occurred out near the Capitol. So that means he's entitled, because that's language directly from the pardon, he's entitled to the pardon. Now, after we make that argument to a federal court, within weeks, they go back indict him and say that this device that everybody knows cannot explode is now a weapon of mass destruction, and he's facing life in prison.
Osama bin Laden or somebody now?
That's my point. That's my point. So when the father or the mother comes to me and say, hey, Mario, what's going on? I say, hey, look, I've been around this a long time. It's a dirty game.
It is very dirty.
And so by you challenging the situation and saying, hey, look, we don't even need to get into guilt or innocence. We know that you allege that his conduct is related to, he's entitled to pardon. Okay, so if you're going to go that route, instead of doing the right thing and saying it's clear on his face he's entitled to the pardon, that's my argument, that's our opinion. Instead of going that route, you say, well, let's raise the stakes. Let's go back and get an indictment, call it a weapon of mass destruction, and now you keep going down with this pardon stuff. You don't want to take a plea deal, nothing, because you believe in your innocence. Well, you're going to take the risk of going to prison for life. That's how this works. You're raising the stakes to make somebody plead guilty to something that they're not guilty of and they don't believe they're guilty of. So, you know, it's interesting, the government's position.
Mr. Cole, tell me about the day he was arrested.
Well, I was traveling on the day he was arrested, and I got a call from the FBI. And they had started asking me questions, and they told me what was going on, what happened. And that morning, when I woke up, I was looking at TV. I was watching the news, and they made an announcement on the news. And at the time, they didn't make a name announcement. They said they just made an arrest.
Okay, so right off the top, happening this hour, a court appearance for the man accused of planting pipe bombs at the D.C. Democratic and Republican committee headquarters on the eve of the January 6th Capitol riots. In an alleged confession, 30-year-old Brian Cole reportedly told investigators something just snapped. Live now to CBS News Justice reporter Jake Rosen following this one. Jake, so Brian Cole has yet to enter a plea. How will this reported confession figure into today's hearing?
Well, the government, Reed, is arguing that because of this confession that Brian Cole needs to be detained ahead of trial. Now, this is one of the biggest cases that was outstanding for the FBI when President Trump took over. We know that Kash Patel and former Deputy Director Dan Bongino, who's soon to depart the FBI, have made this a really big priority of theirs to solve this. Investigators, according to our CBS News reporting and some court documents, have said that Cole did believe in some of the conspiracies surrounding the 2020 election, but was not directly targeting either political party, more so making a stance against both, according to his confession. His legal team are saying that he's partly on the autism spectrum and has OCD in addition to some other issues, and that they're willing for him to potentially be detained at home during trial under supervision of his family members who he lives with. But federal prosecutors have argued that he would be a threat to the community if he were to be released. And there are just a lot of details that we don't know. It specifically read whether there's more of a motive than has previously been let on in court filings, and what else the Department of Justice knows about what concrete steps Cole took to plant and implement these bombs. Looked like, according to court filings by the Department of Justice, that he cleared his phone a number of times and had tried to get rid of a lot of the bomb-making equipment that he had. But then after planting these bombs in the end of January of 2021, went to go purchase more materials. Investigators say he didn't talk to anyone about this plot. Again, just a number of abnormalities about this behavior leading up to and after allegedly planting these bombs, and whether he fully worked alone. These are all outstanding questions. We could hear some more answers today on. So when
I get a call from one of my other kids, and they were saying that, hey, something might have happened at mom's house. So I tried to call, couldn't get an answer. And so my daughter, she went on the Zoom cam, the Ring cam on the front door, and that's when we saw what was going on, what happened. So, I was talking to the FBI agent, that's when he broke the news of what was going on. And I was like, wow, I'm looking at this on the news. You mean to tell me that is my son that y'all accusing of doing this? And he was, yes, and so forth and so on. So from that point, I had to book a flight to get back there to figure out exactly what was going on. And I booked the flight. And once I got there, I notified some counsel so that he would have somebody there the next morning. But, the thing that bothered me out of all of this was that morning they waited until he was away from the house when they made the arrest. He was already at headquarters. They say HQ. He was already at HQ before they even went.
The gym is a big part of my routine, but between work, errands, and meeting up with my friends, I don't always have time to go home and take a shower after a workout. I'm always headed to the next thing, still sweaty and gross from the gym, so that's why I keep Umi in my bag. It's an actual towel, not just a wipe, so I can really clean up fast. Plus, the scents are solid. My favorite is eucalyptus. If you're always on the go, commuting, check them out.
Go to tryumi.com and use code TK10 for 10% off your order today.
Hey y'all, hey, this is Monique Claire, owner and head baker of Jar Jam's Baked Goods and Dessert. This is where we specialize in our sweet potato based, fresh fruit, and flavor-induced deep dish pies. And we have cakes too. We have a variety of 15 flavors. We're sure to please anyone with any flavor. Visit us and see what our customers are saying at www.jarjams.com or follow us on Instagram, Jar Jam's Baked Goods. You will taste the love in every bite.
Ladies, your period shouldn't feel like a medical emergency every month. Yamaya's Give helps women who are tired of suffering through painful cycles, heavy bleeding, and chronic exhaustion. Founded by certified clinical herbalist Yamaya, the brand challenges the idea that surgery is the only option for uterine fibroids. Instead, women are empowered through clinical education, targeted herbal supplements, and deep nourishment. Reclaim your health by visiting yamayasgift.com. I'm excited because I actually get to do an interview with someone such as myself. You are known on social media as Truth Hurts.
Yes.
Okay. The reason I brought you on the show was because I saw you cancel a show with Cheyenne Bryant. So why did you cancel the show with her? Because y'all were supposed to do a show together.
She's not authentic.
Okay.
And so when the doctor thing came out, I was actually kind of like...
Now, real quick, so you are pretty dynamic in the relationship space.
Absolutely.
I mean, you are one of the ones. How'd you meet your wife?
Well, I met my wife at a Herbalife. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I know Herbalife, yeah,
right?
yeah.
If I'm married, I'm a homeowner, I'm a rental car owner, I'm a property owner. I've changed completely, did a complete turnaround, married, baby. Like, life is stupendous for sure. I used to be a whore. I was a dog of a man, for sure.
When did you stop being a whore?
About 8-9 years ago.
So you haven't cheated since?
No, I have not. As being married, absolutely not.
How long you been married? 4 years?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I feel like a lot of times we watch these content creators, they come into the internet space as a perfect Patty or like a perfect Patrick. I never came to the internet with any of that.
I kind of look at you like as kind of Derek Jackson.
Really? Okay.
I feel that you do. Like, you do have a wife.
Okay.
Your wife contributes to your success. Now, your situation, you just had a baby or whatnot, but I have to ask you because there are, like I said, people that come to me. Do you know this woman?
Yeah, I do know her. Yeah.
With respect to your wife and your new baby, I will talk to you off camera about what has been revealed to me. And
into his mother's house the way they did. And they went in there with tactical gear on and everything. And that's
I'm
when...
confused. What do you mean?
Yep.
So,
I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
So, another problem.
Okay.
Another problem, right? So, the business as Brian is in requires him to understand bond, bail, legal rights, rights to an attorney.
Correct.
So on the day that they arrested Junior, they didn't go to his house and say, while his parents are there, and say, hey, we got a warrant for your arrest and some search warrants, let us in, we're going to take whatever. No, even though they had been, this is where the autism stuff comes into play. We're not talking about Joe Schmo off the street. Okay. We're talking about the FBI behavioralist specialists who are watching this kid get up every morning, do the same routine, go buy pizza and a Coke, and come back with his dog, speak to the same neighbors at the same time. These are specialists. They understand, hey, something might be a little different with him. Maybe he's on the spectrum, maybe he's not, because you understand. So you say, oh, wait a minute. Let's go ahead and wait until he does his routine after watching him for at least a month. We're going to, people say it's inflammatory, but I consider it almost like kidnapping somebody. If you didn't have a warrant, that's what it would be. So they go ahead and take him up off the street and take him to interrogate him when his parents aren't present. They never got to talk to him. They don't understand what's going on, and they never get to say to somebody who I believe wholeheartedly was identified as some type of spectrum autism, Never had to say, hey, Brian, just relax. Don't say a word to these people. I'll get you an attorney down there. So that's on purpose. That's not me speculating. That's strategy by the government. That's how it works. And so you're just saying, okay, wait a minute now. You done swooped this man away. And here's the key. This is what my expert told me. I was sitting at the lobby. I was about to do an interview out in D.C. He said, Mario, you want me to tell you how they know he wasn't a danger? He said, now you tell me the last time you think somebody, weapons of mass destruction, somebody who's a pipe bomber or whatever you want to call them, you tell me the last time you wait till they're in public to arrest them. You don't arrest somebody that's a suspect like that at a local 7-Eleven when you have the ability to basically fly helicopters over, send every county within distance to his home and say, hey, man, your son's in there, bring him on out. So that's a strategy, and it's a strategy that we're going to argue violated his rights because he's locked up, he's under interrogation, behavioral specialist, interrogation specialist, everything, and you knew all you had, if you went to his home, while he was at home, because you're watching him steadily, his father would have simply said, don't say a word, I'm going to have a lawyer meet you down at headquarters. So that's another issue where people say, hey, is he getting a fair shot at this? Of course he's not. It's not been fair from the start. And then when you think about everybody getting pardoned, and what's really sick about it is you got people, and hey, it's not Mario Williams saying this, you got Republican senators saying what I'm about to tell you. There is nowhere in the world you should be paying people who assaulted law enforcement officers and helped facilitate the death of law enforcement officers. Not only did you pardon them, when certain Republican senators and Congress people said, hey, the people who assault officers aren't going to get the pardon, that flew out the window. So now you give everybody a pardon, and then now they're up to, you're saying, hey, we might fund these guys. We might pay them. We might pay convicted felons. See, it's all about framing. The law is about who frames the situation the best. So you can say, Trump will say, pardon J6ers, people who are about freedom and liberty. I say, pardon people who are convicted felons who hurt law enforcement, and then you pay them for what they did. But something about my guy, Junior, you trying to make him go down with the ship and serve life in prison. And then people say, well, why do you think it's race? And I say the same thing. Look, I can't speak for all black people, but I grew up around a lot of black people. I grew up in New Orleans. And I am telling you, and I tell people this all the time, I do employment law, race discrimination, sex discrimination. I sue public officials, DAs, all kind of stuff. And I tell people every time, it's not that blacks say, hey, it's race. And somebody, oh man, you pulling it. No, it's when we're in situations and we're getting treated differently. And then everybody says, hey, hold on, this doesn't make sense. This is awkward. I'm watching a guy who's a convicted felon who beat up a cop. He gets a pardon, now he gets paid. And then you're fighting against me getting the pardon when it's clear as day that it makes sense. So then black people start saying, hey, does the color of my skin have something to do with this? My Latino brothers too. They say, hey, is my race or my ethnicity the reason why I'm not getting this type of treatment?
Do you feel like this is race related?
Yes,
against your son?
100%. If he was, and I don't know if I could say this or not, but if
yeah,
he was,
you say
if
what
he
you
was,
want to say. This is
if he,
the beauty
if,
of my platform.
if he was a white kid or a white guy, I believe he would have had the pardon by now. You know, he's gonna. You know, they're trying to make it.
Well, white guys did get a pardon.
He would get a pardon if he was.
But they did get a pardon.
Yeah, they did. You know what I mean? But my son is a young man, autistic, and they're trying to make him the only person in U.S. history to be convicted of something dealing with January 6th. Yes, I think it's a race issue. I really do.
Does he understand the level of what's going on?
At the beginning, he didn't. But as things started going on and started evolving, yes, he started realizing how big this was. You got to realize when he was incarcerated, when he was put in jail, he didn't have no access to really see what we were seeing, what we were hearing, and what was going on. You know what I mean? And until, you know, the other side of the legal team will go in and visit him and show him things and talk to him, that's when he started understanding how big and how serious this really was.
What did he think?
I can't answer that question because, you know, we're very limited to what we can say over the phone because the phone calls are recorded. Okay, we haven't had no contact with him as far as physical contact, no in-person visits with him. They won't allow us to do that. So all of our visits with him is on the phone or through video visits, and we can't talk or we can't go down that path because of the legal issues. So we kind of like, you know, we can't talk about those things.
Are you allowed to see him and
yeah,
talk
I'm allowed
to him?
to see him, but you know, it's attorney-client privilege. But I will say this.
You.
I will say this. So, you know, when I think about, I'm always asked the question that you opened up with him. Well, how is Junior doing? So I always answer the same way. People with no criminal history, and more importantly, no history of violence, they don't do well in jail, regardless. I don't care how many meals you bring me. I don't care if you don't discipline me and give me a DR. If I'm in jail or prison and I've never been there before, I'm not doing good. Because the structure and the order of jail and prison is demeaning, to be honest with you. And it's meant to be that way. People talk about rehab, but that's not what it's about. So then I say to myself, okay, well, let me go ahead and I said, let's go ahead and do this bond hearing. Because why? No criminal history. Never a problem with the law at all. We talking down to citations. But more importantly, no history of violence, no violence at school, none of the things, the indicators or the indicia that you would say, hey, look, maybe he is a danger to the public. Nothing. I'm talking about zero. So I said, oh, man, I've done some bond hearings, you know, federal level and I've had to appeal them and all kinds. I said, okay, well, let's
be a piece of cake.
Yeah, let's get this on paper. So he says, hey, this is what the law says, even with the allegation and a presumption that against him, basically, to make it easy, not to try to get too complicated. There's a presumption against him due to the nature of the allegation, but it's a rebuttable presumption, which just means, hey, Mario, bring in all that evidence. Bring in all that, no criminal history, no violence, no nothing, and cite the case law, we're out. He's still there. And this gets to another point that I want to make. The reason I believe he's still there is because there was a drastic mistake made. When this hit the media, you would have thought this guy was Ted Trzynski.
Scripps News obtained new video of the Washington, D.C. pipe bomb suspect who was arrested earlier this month. I want to bring in our Scripps News senior national investigative correspondent, Lori Jane Gliha, who has this exclusive reporting. So, LJ, how did we even find out this new video existed?
Well, Stephanie, we always go searching for anything that gives us a more complete picture of the person who's been named by authorities. And in this case, we have literal pictures. New video of a car crash from 2024 in which police captured his face on camera.
Is everyone okay? Anyone hurt? Okay, officer. Everyone's all good?
Police responding to a Virginia traffic accident in 2024 captured these images of Brian J. Cole Jr. more than a year before federal authorities took him into custody and accused him of planting pipe bombs near Democratic and Republican headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Lapse in judgment. I was looking for a place that I could, go on to the next lane, and then just one small lapse in focus, and I just crashed behind him.
Cole was driving the blue Nissan Sentra when he rear-ended the truck in front of him.
If you would have left some space, you wouldn't have rear-ended the vehicle. Does that make sense? Okay? Yeah.
A police officer wrote him a ticket that day for following too closely behind the other vehicle.
I see that you do have a good driving record. You have 4+ points, which is good. You ever gotten a crash before?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, I've been through this process before.
The consequences of this non-criminal offense are minor compared to the federal charges Cole is now facing. Court records show he's charged with transporting an explosive device with the intent to kill, injure, or intimidate, or unlawfully damage or destroy any building, vehicle, or property. He's accused of placing the devices one day before the Washington, D.C. riots in 2021, when thousands of people stormed the U.S. Capitol ahead of the certification of President Joe Biden's election.
You would be like, oh my God, they caught a guy that was hiding and trying to blow up the whole White House Capitol, and probably linked to some types of political groups. Then things calmed down and the facts started coming out. Hey man, this guy ain't no danger. He don't have no history or nothing. Okay, we have these allegations on him, but hold up. No danger, no history of anything. No political affiliations. He's not an oath keeper. He's not no radical, because a lot of times, and this goes to the people who are pardoned, they'll be saying stuff like, get right with God, it's time to die. You don't have no stuff like that.
No Facebook groups.
No Facebook posts, zero. I even stood up in court and said, hey, Your Honor, I know I'm the person that's answering the question, but could you do me a favor? Could you ask the government to show you some of this information if they have it? They don't have it. They don't have it.
Yeah, because normally you would see, like, you know, there are groups. I'm on X.
Yeah, I'm going to join up with you.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I see them.
No social.
I see
nothing. So then I say, okay, well, the magistrate judge says some stuff, said no. It goes up to the district court judge. Then we find out, you know, we're looking at the magistrate opinion. Well, you wrong on the facts on some of this stuff, so we make a correction to that. District court judge enters a court order. I'm not demeaning him at all. Have no issues with the district court judge. He denies it. Goes up to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. They deny it. So then again, you say, hey, what's going on when the fundamental legal basis for bond and nobody wants to discuss it? See, the way appeals work is that you're looking for something to latch on to. Mm-hmm. You're saying, hey, man, I want an opinion so I can figure out the reasoning. But we're not getting that. We don't get that. We just get, you know, real rift, like boom, no. So we just got to live with that. Now we have to deal with the consequence of trying to go up to the Supreme Court just to let them out of jail.
Are you guaranteed a hearing?
No. Not with a Supreme Court, sir. It's less than 2%. That's 2%. Trust me.
So
I
now
probably
you're
spent over
forced to
$100,000 trying to go up to the Supreme Court. It just doesn't happen. You can have great cases.
So now you're pretty much forced to litigate the case
Go to
whenever
trial.
they decide to go to trial.
Yeah. So a lot of times, because there's so much information, you know, cases come down to. They could come down to 10, 20 docs, one document. But what's produced in these cases, especially on the federal level, you get 500, 700,000 documents. You know, you get an AI and you start getting your team together to go through all this stuff. So that's the process we're in. He has a right to a speedy trial, but typically you got to waive that just to get through discovery. So we're hoping, with luck, that we can be in front of a jury sometime between December of 2026 and probably February 2027. But the point is, you got to stay in jail all that time, unless the Supreme Court grants cert or something and overturns it. So that's, and I hate to say this, but this is just how the system works, especially, you know, just in general. So if he's in jail, think about this, and everybody knows this. If you're in jail and you're uncomfortable, obviously, what's the likelihood that you're going to start after a while? It's just a war of attrition. What's the likelihood after a while you're going to say, hey, man, it's time for me to think about taking a plea so I can get the hell out of here? It's a pressure system.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know?
Inspire creativity and personal growth at any age. You're never too old. Ivory Books curates meaningful coloring books and reflection journals that boost literacy, optimism, and social emotional learning for kids, teens, and adults alike. We're not excluded. I mean that. Whether you are ordering a single copy for yourself or purchasing in bulk for a school, business, nonprofit, or community program, these books offer everyday inspiration. Explore the entire catalog at ivorybooks.com. Save 15% on your order with promo code Tasha K. You want to learn how to turn fast money in the future that nobody can take away from you? Well, Smart Hoes is a business school and roadmap designed exclusively for women and young girls in alternative industries. You know which industries I'm talking about. From bottle girls to dancers to online creators who are ready to transition into legitimate business ownership. Smart Hoes bridges the gap with real education, branding, and business strategies to transform your current income into long-term scalable wealth. Nobody wants to be on the stage forever, on OnlyFans forever. Get the exit strategy. Access the blueprint today at smarthoes.com. LaToya Odom.
Tasha K.
Are you Jamal Bryant, the preacher, the minister, the fornicator? Is he your baby daddy?
He is.
Is he a present father?
Never has been.
How did you meet Mr. Bryant?
He found me on MySpace. That's how old this is. He befriends me on MySpace, and then I start looking into all of his little profiles. Like, oh, he's married. He just asked me to be his massage therapist. So I'm trying to figure out the 2 and 2, like what is going on? And he was like, well, I'm going through a divorce. He's like, I want to get a massage. Come to the hotel. I'll pay you whatever. And I'm going to church tonight. This is when it gets crazy. He said I seduced him.
You massaged?
Yeah, I massaged him.
Naked?
Next thing I know, clothes coming off. So we have sex.
Protected?
No. Louisiana people say, you know how you could tell there's alligators in the water? Go and test the water. Is it wet? The alligator's in the water. So you know I'm fertile. I just told you. So you came to the water wet, with no condom, no nothing.
He nutted in you.
I got pregnant on the first try.
There has been child support paid to you.
The last payment I received was $96. And John loves him. One day he told me, he said, Mommy, I love you and I love my daddy.
So he was helping at some point.
John really believes his dad. This is what he said at 2. He said, Mommy, I want to go see my daddy. So I dressed him up at 2. He was in Atlanta and I took him. Do you know Jamal never touched him? Just looked at him. They had a staring contest.
You mind if I talk to you, baby? Can you sit down? That's why I don't like kids on my platform. Now, when we're talking about autism and your son and him being 30 and the routine and I was trying to, because I want the viewers to understand the type of individual that the government is saying is allegedly doing this. When I asked you, I was like, what is his, and I don't think I asked you like this, like what is his mind state? Like right now being incarcerated, of course, nobody wants to be incarcerated. That's not his lifestyle. That's not what he's used to. That's out of his norm because he had a set schedule. Mm-hmm. Is he under 24 hours lockdown? Like, is he in general population? Like, what is he communicating to you in regards to his new routine and how he's navigating it? Like,
when we speak to him, like I say, I speak to him twice a day, every day.
Okay.
He's in general population. He's not 24-hour lockdown or 23-hour lockdown, anything like that. He's being treated like a regular inmate in there. He's doing okay. He's talking. You know, he's not under any pressure or stress or anything. He's fine. He's doing okay. Do he want to be home? Absolutely, 100%. But he's doing okay. You know.
So he's safe in there. Like,
yes,
because you know how prison can be.
I'm gonna tell you. I gotta say this. Yes, he's safe. The facility that he's in. Yes, he's okay.
Okay. Because I would worry about
under the circumstances.
He is okay. He gets his meals. He.
So no one's like taking advantage of him and.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Because I would worry that.
And if somebody was, he was already instructed to let us know. He was already instructed to go to his case manager. He understands all of that. You know, but no, he even given us any indication that, you know, anybody's in there, you know, bullying him or anything like that. Not at all.
Let's talk conspiracy. Because conspiracy is not a matter of fact. It's not even something they could use against you in court. We're just talking.
Can I make one?
Sure.
Could I say
absolutely.
one thing? I don't think a lot of people knew this, but a little after Brian was arrested, there was a situation that happened in Loudoun County, Virginia, where there was some white kids who were setting off bombs and blowing up manholes, and their bombs were actually going off, blowing up. And they
I'm familiar with Loudoun County.
And I would encourage a lot of people to look at this case. And their house was raided one morning. This was a little after Brian was picked up. And do you know each one of them, they didn't charge them federally. They left that as a state charge. And do you know they were home the next day? And their bombs actually were blowing up manhole covers, and they found material in their residence and everything. And
it's weird because Virginia usually is pretty strict when it comes to breaking laws.
So when you look at things like that, how come the feds didn't step in on that? And these bombs were actually going off, but they're so dedicated. And like I say, my personal opinion, my son didn't do it, but they're so gung-ho on trying to hang this around his neck. That then you get a clear understanding of what Mario was saying. At some point, you got to look at it as, okay, why? Why is this going this far? Why didn't they charge those white kids and this young black artistic guy? You're trying to hang this serious crime around his neck. That's why I say, when you ask this, do you think race is an issue? Yes, absolutely. Because they should have been charged too. They should have been charged federally. Why?
And you said this happened like right
this
after?
This was right after. You can
so
Google
them kids probably could have.
You can Google it.
They ain't too far from these Loudoun counties. I'm just saying,
I'm not making
this is Tasha talking.
I'm not making no allegations.
This is Tasha talking. If we got bombs going off in Loudoun County, that's less than 60 miles from the Capitol. And they're doing that. But I'm just saying, this is me. This is not you. Hypothetically, if yours is working and they're actually doing it, you would think that, maybe as a Fed, let me look into this to see if there's any correlation into what had happened. Not saying that these kids did it, right. But to me, as a person with common sense, why would I go chase someone who has, according to what you guys know and have seen, no track record of joining any type of online groups or, hate.
Nothing.
Groups. And trust me, like I said, I'm on X. Yeah. I'm on Facebook. I see it. Yeah. These kids are being bred so young. And it's a new...
And that's
the
my
thing
problem.
about the conspiracy stuff is...
And that's why I wanted to talk conspiracy. Because conspiracy is just a matter of kind of what do you think, if you were to think about this, what do you think is happening?
Here's the thing when you talk about conspiracies, and I always... shy away from conspiracy and just rely on facts. Okay. So a conspiracy is just something that, hey, is speculation or something, but here are some facts. A person failed, a law enforcement officer failed a lie detector test, I think, twice on 2 questions. That person was, even though they failed a lie detector test, that person was never, see, one issue is, okay, failed a lie detector test. Okay, that's one issue. What did you do in response to that? You could have based an indictment on that.
And they have in the past.
They didn't. Oh,
I'm just saying
obviously, yeah. That and surrounding evidence, but the situation is supposedly so severe. Somebody accused of a explosive device at the Capitol trying to influence the certification process on J6, all this kind of stuff. They failed. So then you start, what we do in Discovery is we start looking at it. So you call it conspiracy, call it what you want. We want to know where this led to. We want to know who else you investigated and why those things were shut down. You might come up with a plausible reason for that. You might not, but we're in the process of basically developing that and understanding it a lot better, because it could come up at trial and it could not. So what I think a lot of people do is they say, oh, well, Mario, are you going with this conspiracy theory that this other person did it? I said, I don't know what you mean by conspiracy, but I know these facts are undeniable. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the likelihood and how they match up with the facts dealing with my client. So, and then if that makes sense to me, I'll bring it up at a trial. So, that's how I feel about that. I don't want to get into really not aligning myself with things that I can prove. That's what we're in the and we can prove that she failed that polygraph. We can prove she was never indicted. We don't know for sure, because we're in the mix of discovery, why they closed down the investigation against her. They might say, well, she had an alibi. Well, I got to look at that alibi, because alibi means that you have somebody at the specific time that the occurrence happened that demonstrates they could have never been where you thought they were. But I don't know that. I haven't seen all that yet. So, and then other issues that are kind of tangential, and I'm thinking like, well, we're going to go down that road. It's just so early on in trying to review all that documentation.
Can you speak on your son's or your client's alibi that night? I guess they're alleging that he did this.
No, without violating attorney-client privilege, I can tell you that I firmly believe that Brian Jr. is not guilty.
Okay.
I firmly believe that.
Okay.
In every way. I think in the legal way, I think this is completely unethical and immoral as far as trying to make him go down for a life sentence. I'm going to say that right off. I don't like the fact that we filed that motion for the pardon, and then you go out and you run around and indict him on weapons of mass destruction so you can hang a life sentence over his head. That is absolutely, in my opinion, government abuse in every way. And so I believe in his innocence. I wouldn't be on the case if I didn't. And I actually, to be honest with you, I look forward to the trial. We're going to be in D.C. I want to see you pull this one off. So that's where I'm at.
Do you honestly think? I mean, the government, they'll try anything. But, this is going to be a very public case.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to take it to trial?
You got to always assume that they will. You got to always assume that they will. So, my mindset is always be prepared to litigate it. So if they don't, and they actually do the right thing, in my opinion, say, hey, regardless of guilt or innocence, you're entitled to the pardon because of the plain language and the allegations that have been made against you, that would be great. But I don't know how to feel about that, because I understand the initial reaction of saying, well, let's fight it a little bit more. Let's go get this this weapons of mass destruction and see if we can get a plea deal out of it, get something out of it, since we really feel we've gone down the wrong road. That's all it's about to me. That's all it's about to me. Once my experience has shown me, and I've done SEC, IRS, once the government digs in and they put the man hours in and the resources, it's hard for them to pull back. Even if you can get something like, hey, the plain language of this pardon clearly applies to Junior. They've put so much in it. And then they went crazy with the media when they arrested him. So it's hard you want to save face. So what's the save face routine? Hey, up the ante, try to get a plea, we get something out of it. Instead of saying, hey, let's take a real look at, does he deserve the pardon? He does. Let's just drop this and just cut our losses and call it a day. That's very difficult for the government to do.
How's your wife? How's his mom taking this?
How's his mom taking it?
Yeah.
Hard. All of us are taking it hard. I mean, you know.
Let's pull up. Speak up to the mic a little bit.
He's been around. Brian's been around. We've been around Brian from day one. Like I said, we're a very tight family. His siblings, his mom, his grandmom, everybody's taking it pretty hard. It's kind of hard to see him in this situation. It's kind of hard to see him incarcerated. It's hard to see him in court when they bring him out in court in his jail jumper. I mean, it's very hard. I mean,
you spent your life getting people out of jail.
Yes.
And now your son is in jail.
30 years. And now my son is in jail.
And you can't get him out.
And it's nothing I can do to get him out. There's nothing I can do to get him out.
That's got to be tough. I'm extremely spiritual, and I know there's, this is a frustrating part about, having a relationship with God and standing on faith, and, I wholeheartedly believe He doesn't put things on us that we cannot figure out. Mm-hmm. Like, there is a way, we just can't see it. And, you have 30 years experience with helping people who are guilty, who are innocent, to get out of jail. And now your own flesh and blood is...
Can I dap my forehead?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've been sweating, boy.
Is in jail and nothing. There's nothing you can do.
No.
But there's something. And I
the biggest thing we can all do, what we all have been doing, is we all been praying. All of us, we've been praying. You know, and you know the like Mario said, you know, from what he's seen, the evidence speaks for itself. Man, he didn't do it. You know, I don't. He didn't do it, and I think at the end we're going to prevail. We're going to win. We're going to be able to prove it.
You will, and this is tough, and I'm
just this picture, you know, and it's you know, if you guys knew Brian, knew his demeanor, it would break your heart. Trust me. That's why you know the support that he's getting from family, friends, and everybody is so overwhelming. Is because they know he's not a violent person. He's a very peaceful guy. You know, I mean, you're talking about a guy, a kid up to a grown man who's never been in trouble, who's never caused any trouble. Do I have kids that have caused trouble? Yes, but that's the one that never caused us any issues. You know, and for him to be in this situation, it's hard. It's very hard. So
I don't like really doing interviews like this because it causes a lot of grief, a lot of emotion.
It's sad.
You know, and I understand, like, you didn't want to have to be. Who wants to be here?
That's
you know,
right.
so.
But we appreciate it.
Is there anything, anytime, like I say, anytime, is there anything else you would like to, because I think you pretty much said it and all, and I'll be definitely following this case very closely. I'll be reporting the updates. But is there anything else you want to leave the viewers with?
Not really, just, I don't know if I really leave the viewers with it, but I just hope people take a critical look. There's so much information out there. And you can have misinformation, you can have accurate information, you have completely false information. So you got to be able to look at this thing critically for what it is and for the dynamics involved. And I just believe that if you look at it critically, you're going to conclude that what are we doing here with taxpayer dollars? Like, what's going on with this litigation? And I just think that that's the end result for me is, like, looking at it critically, I believe you just conclude that, hey, look, he's entitled to that pardon. Let's move on. According to the pardon itself, we just want to put J6 behind us. That's why everybody got pardoned. I guess that's why people are going to be able to apply for money. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. I haven't looked at the absolute details. Yeah, and so
Okay.
and so, but somehow when it comes to Brian Jr., we're not willing to put J6 behind us. Somehow when it comes to Brian Jr., we want to still go on and up the ante and make him try to face life. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense holding the government to their own representations made to the public as applied to the actual facts of this case.
And I can say this too, ending on this note, because, I'm always, just kind of reading in between the lines, because a lot of people would ask, well, why do you want the pardon if he didn't do it? Why would you want to put unnecessary money towards a litigation that you're not going to get back?
Well, I can answer
why
that.
Even go, yeah.
I can answer that. The question of why would you want him to have a pardon if he really didn't do it? First of all, people, that's a person that doesn't understand jury trials, number one, because when everything's a risk, right? And it's not about, hey, I didn't do it, so I'm not going to take an available legal remedy because I didn't do it, so I'd rather pay hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, go to a jury trial, take that risk, when really I'm entitled to the same treatment as the very people, the 1,600 people that got off. So that to me is like saying, hey, discriminate against me because I believe I didn't do it. No, that's not how this works. That's not how this system works. That's not how the pardon works. The issue is never whether you did it or not. The issue is you just gave 1,600 people a pardon, and now you're trying to say I don't deserve it when I do, regardless of my innocence. I don't need to go to bat and say I'm willing for you to go take out weapons of mass destruction. I'm willing to take a risk at a life sentence when I deserve the same treatment that you gave these 1,600 people.
Regardless if they were innocent.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I invite that. I'm just like, hey, look, if you thinking like that, you have a misunderstanding of what's going on. But I understand that. That's why I'm here to explain it.
Was Ben Crump a part of this at one point? I kind of read.
No, not at all.
No, he wasn't.
A lot of the media stuff that came out, a lot of that stuff was just totally
propaganda.
Oh, yes.
Because I was like, anytime Ben Crump at the scene.
They said Brian was white at first.
Yeah. They said he was a white guy. When
they said he was a white guy. They had to go on TV and apologize for that.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't believe it.
It was like,
oh, this must be a white dude doing something like this. And they found out he was a 30-year-old African-American autistic kid. They were like, what?
It was actually on national TV when that happened. He was talking about it, and then he was saying it was a white guy, and then Brian Pitcher popped up behind him, and they did have to apologize about it. But no, absolutely not. No way, shape, or form. Ben Crump had nothing to do with any of this at all. No, nothing.
Because I thought he was representing your family at first before.
No.
Yeah.
So it's myself, another lawyer named John Sherman, and another lawyer, Alex Little, who has a law firm out in Tennessee, and we're the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I think we have everything we need.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Anything you need, because you helped us out. So anything you need from us.
This is what the platform is for. I'm not here like a lot of people think, oh no, I'm here to allow people to have a space it's controlled, but you're not censored.
Oh yeah. No, you've given it. I appreciate it.
And like I said, we were talking about this.
I'm glad
before.
you asked that last question, because that's on a lot of people's mind. Like people say that stuff to me, like, well, Mario, if he's innocent, why are you going for a pardon? I said, man, you have a misunderstanding of the legal system.
Yeah, like if this is what you're saying, then we don't need to talk about nothing. Just
that's right. It's your
allegation.
That's right.
Whether he did it or not, because you have people that have killed people that was a part of J6 and they're out. So you're not even saying that he killed anybody.
That's right.
So he should, if this is what you're
saying,
alleging,
your allegations.
So that's why I wanted that to be the last question.
I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that.
And I could have answered it for you.
Yeah.
That's why. But I mean, you're the lawyer, you're here, but I could have listen, if this what you say, then this is what you got to do. Oh, now you don't want to do that?
That's right.
Why?
That's the big question. Why?
No. So what case are you bringing now?
That's right.
So
we appreciate
this should be done in a summary judgment with a judge. A judge shouldn't even be allowed to even allow this case to proceed just based off of what Trump has signed into.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
So I don't know how they're are they going to go to trial? Is it going to even pass?
Well, we're waiting on the opinion. But that whole pardon memo has been fully briefed. That means we filed it, they responded, we replied. All three of those papers go to the judge. He then looks at everything, does his own independent analysis, and comes out with an opinion. We're just waiting on the opinion.
Okay. And we will definitely be watching, praying for you and your family.
Appreciate it.
And like I said, I have no, the facts are the facts. And,
that's right.
We'll all know the facts very soon. I'm confident in that. And whether they have the facts or not, he's still required to be home.
That's right.
So when white folks is home, that baby come home. So
we'll see.
All right.
We appreciate you, Ms. Chauncey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You don't want your hair fall out, the skin to be bad and everything, guys. You know our bodies are like plants. I don't like capsules. I don't take capsules. That's why I opt for liquid vitamins that I don't need a whole capful, because they got them big bottles, them liquids is thick, and it's too much. These are drops. You don't have to take them with food. They absorb. 97% of the vitamins and minerals that our body is made out of is in this bottle. This is extracted sea moss. It's the most potent, natural organic vitamins that you're gonna get. Dr. Sebi, all the health gurus are behind this. I love it. This is the sea moss skin. We also have the sea moss pineapple there, sea moss mango, sea moss detox drops as well, which has chlorophyll and dandelion and things like that for the skin, for the gut. All of these, this is one of our most popular products on the site. Use my coupon code TK10 to get 10% off your first order. Don't forget, guys, oil of oregano, I keep it with me. I'm traveling this weekend. I will be traveling with my oil of oregano, being that there's hantavirus, Ebola, everything else out there. This just makes me feel like I am cured. Okay, and so research behind this says oil of oregano is that bitch, okay? I haven't been sick. Don't plan on getting sick. And and so 100% raw oil of oregano extracted, okay? This is UK made. They extract their products with a higher care of love. They don't even allow preservatives and stuff over there in the UK unless it's like vitamin C or something like that. Their health standards are good. That's why everybody's skinny over there, skinty. And they smoke, and they still live a long life. What do you know? Okay, so here's the thing. So oil of oregano, a lot of celebrities swear by this. I swear by this, okay? Try it. I'm telling you, 5 drops, not droppers, just 5 little drops in your water. Use my coupon code TK10 to get 10% off your first order. You can see videos of oil of oregano being put on viruses and bacteria and eradicating them, okay? This was a top seller, too, during the COVID era as well, too. So, I can't say a cure. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. Ain't nobody finna Coach Stormy me. Not today. Not ever. I'm just telling you what it does for me and what the research says, but I can't say what it's gonna do for you, but look at the reviews on shoptkdeals.com, okay? Don't forget, guys, if you are an aspiring author, okay, you wrote a book, we have a book club now on itsTashaK.com. If you want your book premiered here on the show so that we can, the winos can support, please hit us at itsTashaK.com/book-club to speak to one of my digital sales agents to discuss us promoting your book over here, okay? And that goes for all ads, okay? It's TashaK.com/advertise, or go to advertise to talk to one of our digital sales agents to think about, to get your brand promoted on the platform, okay? I love you guys. My headache is gone, huh? Who? Oh, guys, if you are a single man or know a single man that's over the age of 25, hell, over the age of 30, that just wants to talk about being single, why? We're not trying to hook nobody up. We're just trying to get in the minds of the man. Letting the men tell their story for once. Women always out here talking. We want to hear from the men. We need to hear from the men, okay? So we know how to better deal with men. Go to itsTashaK.com/casting, okay? Casting. Winos. I love y'all.